Is this the dagger?
G'day guys, JB here. Game 2 of the NBA Finals is in the books, and right now the Boston Celtics are red hot favourites to all but complete this series in their favour. What the margin will be is still up in the ether, but with 92.5% of all teams winning their series in the playoffs after being up 2-0, you can all but say that this one is over. A bit more of a tighter contest. There was no doubt about it. It was Boston's game. So let's get into it. Let's get into the Game 2 review of the 2024 NBA Finals. Of course, the Celtics defeating Dallas, 105-98 for Boston. Leading the way, as you can see, Game 2 MVP Drew Holiday, 26 points, 11 rebounds with 3 assists to go with a steal and a block. Shot 78.6 from the field, 50% from deep, and 100 from the free throw line. Maintaining for me his candidacy for Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, big assistance, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals, 6 turnovers. Not ideal, but still pushing through and getting things done. 53.3 from the field, 20% from deep, 100% from the line, and Derek White continuing to chip in. 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals and 2 blocks, 40% from the field and from deep, 100% from the free throw line. For Dallas, it was Luka leading the way, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists to go, 4 steals, 8 turnovers, only 50% of his shots from the line, proving costly. Still 57.1 from the field and 44.4 from deep. PJ Washington, 17.7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block with 1 turnover, 46.2 from the field, 20% from deep, or 100% from the free throw line. And Kyrie Irving, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists with 2 steals, has been pretty much a non-factor, 38.9 from the field, hasn't made a 3-point shot, well, particularly in that game, and 100% from the free throw line. Dallas did start strong. Luka had 13 of his 32 in the opening term, and Kyrie had 8 of his 16. And it really looked like the cobwebs from Game 1 had been shaken by Dallas, and looked as though they were going to be really competitive, and looked like they may even be able to run over the top. Of course, though, it was still Kristaps Porzingis with another big opener. However, he did peter out after that, and with the injury to his knee being assessed day to day, it will likely be a concern there. That was the first quarter. Heading into the second term, Luka had another big quarter, had 23 points for the half, so really putting his name on the board there. But Drew Holiday himself had 11 points in the second term, really made things tight there and really put things back in Boston's favour. Heading into the half, Holiday was 17, Luka had 23, and a lot of questions as to what was going to go on there in that third term. Of course, a really quiet second half for Luka, only the 9 points. However, it was a nice rally there. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown really proving pivotal there in that third term. But it did look like that Dallas was starting to get a bit of a run on. It looked like they were going to build some momentum. Looked like they were going to head into that final term with things going their way. But Peyton Pritchard just managing to nail his only basket so far for the series from 40 feet off glass. The garden erupted. Really simple stuff there. And that was pretty much all it wrote there. Dallas started to make a bit of a run in that final term off the back of Daniel Gafford, off the back of PJ Washington, guys that had come from certainly not privileged situations in Washington and Charlotte. But there were just some costly mistakes down the stretch. Real credit there, again, Derek White. Real credit there to Drew Holiday. Really forced the issue there. And that allowed the Celtics to capitalise. That allowed them to put the game out of reach. Jaylen Brown, was it a foul? That's a real question there as far as that drive. Did he push him in the back? Did he have a hand in the back? Was it enough to justify a foul? That'll be a conversation that's had for many a year to come there. A massive fourth quarter effort there by Derek White. He was really leading them in that break. As I said, that foul not called a reasonable turning point. As I said, Boston now up 2-0 in this series. And historically, teams, as I said, 92.5% of the time will win their series after being up 2-0. Ultimately, right now, Dallas needs to lift their defensive end, and they need to get the ball through more sets of hands. Now, obviously, it's a lot harder to guard Boston. They don't just have one or two guys that are going to try and carry the offensive load. They have the ability to dive and cut. They have the ability to, penetrate, kick out, kick out. They have a lot of perimeter threats, both tall and short. They also have this ability, though, that when you really overplay on the perimeter, they just attack the rim. They've got plenty of size to do that as well. So Dallas are really going to have to shore up that defensive end. I mean, offensively, getting the ball through sets of hands. Luka's assist numbers were up, but at the end of the day, you still need to have guys that can make a shot. You need to get those guys the shots that work really well for them. And it's something that Dallas aren't doing right now. They're really still running with that two-headed snake, so to speak. And it really isn't proving to be key for them. For me, current finals MVP is still Jaylen Brown. It's a 2-0 lead right now to the Celtics. They're undefeated on the road in the postseason. Now, the NBA Finals is different. Going from Boston down to Dallas, that Dallas crowd is always up and about. They've always had a really nice crowd down there in Dallas. That's going to be a different test. It's a good chance for Luka, who's still banged up, to really try and assert himself once again. It's a good chance for Kyrie to make a statement and get his name involved. So there's a lot of factors at play right now, and again, the injury to Porzingis, what does that do? We've seen, though, realistically, 12-2 through 14 games without Porzingis in this postseason. I don't think it's going to be too much for them to overcome, particularly because he's coming off the bench. If he's in that starting lineup, playing really big minutes, that becomes a bit of a factor, but at the end of the day, he's coming off the bench. He's had an impact. What sort of impact, I don't know. It's hard to really justify outside of those two opening quarters, but he's clearly been a real tone setter for them, so the question will be who steps up. Probably a good opportunity there for Tatum to step up. At the moment, he's clearly being the distributor, clearly being the rebounder, so there's a little bit of work for him to do there. But currently, Jaylen Brown for me, the finals MVP. He's been consistent on both ends of the floor. He's been the impact on both ends of the floor, and it's happened in both games. Now, Drew Holiday, he's been really nice. I understand that there's a conversation with Drew Holiday. I also understand the conversation there for Luka being in that losing side and averaging 30. There's a real difference between averaging 30 and turning the ball over and not playing great D. There are some times there where he's playing some nice D, and I'll give him that, but it's just really hard right now to justify anyone from Dallas. They've been beaten worse, honestly, than that scoreboard's reflective of, particularly there in Game 2. Anyway, guys, that's been me. Thanks for sticking through with this one. Pretty banged up at the moment with the flu, so the fact I've been even able to get this out is a miracle. Between sleeping and eating and sleeping, there's really not much time to do anything else. Anyway, guys, that's been me. I'm out.